Is the New York City commercial real estate market crashing? Is this going to be Armageddon? Is this going to be another 2008, like many people are saying? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, and I'll give you the short answer. The short answer is no, and absolutely not. If anything, the commercial real estate market here in New York City has been doing exceptionally well, but it's just a very bifurcated market. What you're seeing is companies, organizations moving towards the very, very high end of the market. They're ditching their old leases at some of the office towers that would be considered Class B and Class C, and they're now moving to some of the newest, best, and most innovative product in the city, what I would like to call the Class A office towers, which just so happens on today's walking tour, we are going to be exploring one of the city's newest Class A office structures, the Penn 2 project, which is being built right over the brand new Penn station. Now, the development company or the real estate company that is tasked with putting on the Penn 2 project is Vornado. Now, Vornado arguably has one of the most recognizable New York City real estate figures at the helm as CEO. His name is Steve Roth. But what's funny is when you think about Vornado, you usually think about commercial real estate, office, retail, and the like. You usually don't think about residential real estate. But with Vornado, locally here in New York, they're probably most well known for their 220 Central Park South ultra-luxury Billionaires Row residential skyscraper, which just so happened to be the best-selling skyscraper on Billionaires Row, beating out 157, Central Park Tower, Steinway Tower, and Harry Macalow's 432 Park Avenue. The architect on 220 Central Park South was Robert A.M. Stern, one of the best New York City architects to ever live, who also is on the Zeckendorf building, which is 15 Central Park West, also nicknamed the Limestone Jesus, that has about 18,000 individual slabs of limestone on that building. But getting back to the commercial side of real estate here in New York, as I've said, and we'll kind of cover all of the major headlines. I'm sure all of you've seen, oh my gosh, there's going to be a tidal wave, trillions of dollars in commercial debt that is set to roll over this year and next year in 2026. And since the Federal Reserve has been in a hiking cycle, thus raising interest rates, well, a lot of that debt is going to now be rolled over at much higher rates. Well, there's some nuance about this, and we'll talk about it. Well, number one, obviously, right, because over the last decade, we have been in something which is considered an acronym, what I like to call ZIRP, which is zero interest rate policy. To get us out of the 2008 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve had to leave interest rates rock bottom, arguably rock bottom for too long. So the debt acquisition at such low rates ballooned, absolutely exploded. Then came coronavirus, COVID, right? Massive amounts of fiscal stimulus, massive amounts of monetary stimulus, which sent inflation in the United States to about 9.1%. Now, in order for the Federal Reserve to get inflation under control, we had to raise interest rates, or the Fed funds rate, over 500 basis points, or just over 5%, within the span of 18 months, right? That pretty much shut off the market, right? It shut off the housing market in terms of the residential real estate market, and it really shut off new building and new development for commercial, right? So that is true. However, you do have very, very high occupancy at the high end of the market, such as the Class A office towers, which we've really explained before. If you think about the net new lease signings in 2024, they're actually the highest they've been since 2011. If you think about buildings such as the one we're looking at right now, the Penn 2 project, we just had the MLS, or Major League Soccer, sign over 126,000 square feet of office space here. If you go over to the Hudson Yards, we'll switch back to the standard angle lens. But if you take a walk over to 9th and 10th Avenue and you go to the Hudson Yards, well, that is doing really well. Particularly Manhattan, 2 Manhattan West and 1 Manhattan West. You've had hedge fund D.E. Shaw move their offices from 1166 Avenue Americas to 1 Manhattan West, brand new office space. You have BlackRock that have moved their offices from the east side of Manhattan to 50 Hudson Yards, and they've actually gone and doubled down and leased even more space. So when you think about all of these, fear crazy headlines about how the New York City real estate market, particularly on the commercial end, is crashing, they don't give you the full story, because the Class A office towers are not only at some of the highest occupancies they've ever had, but in terms of the price per square foot of rentable square foot, I mean, you're looking at $200, $250, sometimes even up to $400 per rentable square foot for some of these buildings, such as 1 Vanderbilt, 425 Park Avenue, and many of the ones at Hudson Yards. So hopefully that provides a little bit of context. And now let's get into the meat of the tour, which is walking Penn 2. We're going to take you all the way inside by the New Jersey Transit, the Long Island Railroad, and the Amtrak. Now this is on 7th Avenue looking northbound. And I'm going to go back to the wide angle lens. And if you haven't been to New York City in quite some time, this is an unbelievable change. Okay, to be fully honest and transparent, Penn Station historically has been an absolute nightmare and a horror show. It's just the truth, it has. And it's transformed in an unbelievable way. It's now open, there's more public space, it doesn't feel so claustrophobic, it's inviting. And if you think about a lot of the tourist activity, many people, when they first arrive to New York City for the first time, what do they see? Well, chances are they come through Penn Station, because if you're taking the air train from JFK, it drops you off at Jamaica Station, and then you take the Long Island Railroad into Penn. And if your first impression is dark, dilapidated, old, it's not a very good first impression on the city, and it's not a very good first impression on the United States of America. But what you have now is a complete 180. There's places to eat, there's shops, there's now banking institutions, you have multiple Chase branches here, a brand new entrance to Madison Square Garden. They're working on a brand new entrance to New Jersey Transit right here. And as you could tell, the sidewalk is actually double wide too. So you have more space, it's safer, right, less claustrophobic. So I'm just trying to get the camera lens. And I think they did a really good job. Now, if you were to make a left right here, you could see these folks walking in with the Rangers jerseys. That's going to be the new entrance to Madison Square Garden. Very big, open, grand entrance. And you also have that new entrance that's going to bring you to the Long Island Railroad. Another interesting thing, which is going to be a part of the project, the Penn District. If you look across the street, you may notice that it looks obviously very empty. That used to be the old Pennsylvania Hotel, and it has now been demolished, and it makes way for these really nice views of 1 Vanderbilt, which is right here, which just so happens to be one of the Class A office towers we've been talking about. And you could also see the spire of 270 Park Avenue, which is yet another Class A office tower, which is being built by J.P. Morgan Chase. But if we come up here, you have this perfect, unobstructed view of the Empire State Building. So imagine you're coming to New York the first time, and you're getting off the subway, you're getting off the Long Island Railroad, and you're greeted with this dead-centered view of the Empire State Building. This is the impression that New York wants to leave on visitors. So a complete 180. I think this is really going to revitalize the Penn district, because as of right now, the Penn district has some of the highest office vacancy in New York City, and projects like this, like Penn 2, cleaning up the streets, cleaning up Penn Station, making it open, welcoming, and inviting, I think is going to do a wonderful job of bringing businesses back to the neighborhood. Let's continue on down. The next stop on the tour, I'm going to show you the brand new entrance of the Long Island Railroad. If the last time you've been to Penn Station was, let's say over 4 years ago, the amount of change is unbelievable, particularly in the Long Island Railroad section. The ceiling heights are at least double what they were. It used to be super claustrophobic down there in the Long Island Railroad terminal. Now you have brand new retail. You have literally 50 million different options for restaurants, coffee shops. There's a brand new seating area, and things are just more open, airy, and it feels a lot more safe. So right here on the corner of West 33rd Street and 7th Avenue, this is called Plaza 33. As I stand here and turn the camera to the left, you can see this is the brand new entrance to Penn Station, Long Island Railroad, and the subway. You can get the 123 A, C, and E trains here. I'll quickly flip back over to the wide-angle lens just so you can kind of see the depth and the gravity of the space. Just to the right, you have a dedicated entrance to the subway, the 1, 2, and 3 train. You have a Los Tacos, another rooftop bar, a gelato place, and you even have a Lifetime Fitness and a pickleball place right next to Penn 2. If you were to go down a little bit more, you have all of this outdoor seating. This was never here before. This used to be just a street. This used to be 33rd Street that would cut all the way down by Madison Square Garden. Now it's all public space for people. And it just makes it so much better. Like if you're working in one of these office towers and you can get lunch and sit outside and, mingle with your coworkers as opposed to just looking at a bunch of cars whizzing by, it's so much better. And it's really a testament to the city and what Vornado has done to kind of revitalize the area. This is that pickleball place. As you can see, it's open to the public from 5 o'clock in the morning until midnight. Sometimes they have live music here. You have more pizza shops, gelato place, and more seating. Now, as we know, we do now have a new president of the United States, Donald Trump. And one of the things that he's done is signed an executive order mandating all of the federal employees return to the office. Right? That is going to set a major, major precedent for the market, whether you like it or not. Right? We're just talking about the market. We're not talking about the politics. So people are going to return to work. Chances are, if you work in banking, if you work in consulting, if you work in tech, you're going back to work. I like to use something called follow the money. So if Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase spent $3 billion to construct 270 Park Avenue, when that's complete, do you think Jamie Dimon is going to say, hey everybody, we just spent $3 billion on a brand new Class A office tower. Yeah, let's have you just not use it and let's leave it totally vacant and you stay home. No, they're going back to the office for 5 days a week. And I would say everybody in the investment banking, the hedge fund business, the consulting, big law, are all going back to the office as well. And this is also shown in the data. Look at all of the net new lease signings in 2024 in Manhattan. Tons of hedge funds are renewing and expanding lease office space in buildings, right? big hedge fund BAM, which is a multi-asset, multi-strategy hedge fund in the GM building, just signed more space. BlackRock at 50 Hudson Yards, leasing more space as well. You've had D.E. Shaw. So the return to office is real, and the boom in commercial real estate on the high end, the Class A office towers, is really just getting started, in my opinion, in Manhattan. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody to the brand new Penn Station. As you can see, there's tons of places to eat. I'll kind of go back to the regular angle lens. You have a new Raising Cane's. You have a Shake Shack here. A Dos Toros. A brand new Walgreens. And it's much, much more inviting. They've cut a hole in the ceiling, and they made way for this beautiful entryway here. And they must have expanded the ceiling heights at least double. Now, for some context, if you look at the drop head right here, okay? If you can believe it, this used to be the ceiling height throughout the entirety of Penn Station. So when I was a kid taking the train to the city from Long Island, that is how low the ceilings were. We'll kind of quickly walk under this ceiling just so you can see. This is how it used to be. Like, this looks very, very dated. This does not look like you're arriving to New York City. This looks like, this looks like a third world country, right? Under here. But with the new renovations, it's like you're in a completely different city, and this is what New York should look like, in my opinion. Modern, efficient, high-tech, tons of options for travelers. So let's make this left, and I want to take you all the way under to the other side of Penn 2. And that'll bring us up by the brand new Moynihan train hall, which has a new connection to the Hudson Yards. But let me know what you think in the comments, because there's a lot of people who haven't visited the city in a few years. They've been reading all the media articles about, fear this, fear that in New York. And it's really pushed a lot of people away. But what I would like to say is the city is making so many different changes. The infrastructure here is improving. Businesses are coming back. People are returning to the office. The city is as vibrant as it's ever been. And I don't want you to miss out on that, right? So don't let the fear narratives, right? Commercial real estate's crashing, crime wave. We do have our problems in the city, but don't let that scare you out of enjoying all the new infrastructure here in Manhattan. Here you have a brand new Pret, a new Starbucks, a new pizza shop. You also have a Chick-fil-A too. On the other side, you have a new wine store. I thought they had a Hudson News here, but maybe they've relocated that location. Well, this is Chick-fil-A Monday through Saturday. Ah, that's right. They're closed on Sundays. Today is Sunday. You have a brand new Chopped. And you have direct access to Penn 1, which is an office tower. So if you work in this building, you don't even have to leave the train station. You just go right into the offices. Insomnia Cookies, a sushi place. And as you could tell, all the new retail and all the new dining is really new. It's modern, it's clean. When I was growing up, the Penn Station, there was like a Taco Bell here, a KFC, and it was very, very dirty. I can't overstate this enough, just how different and new and modern this is. Where you see the tracks 1 through 19, that's how low the ceiling heights used to be through the entire thing. So they haven't redid this part yet. But for some context, that's how low the ceilings were. Here's the Insomnia. This looks like a little Italian pastry place. We can get coffee, pastries. And now we're going to go down the corridor, which is going to take us to the Moynihan train hall and also the subway, where you can get the AC and E trains. This will be a good compare and contrast of the old station to the new. So this is now back into the old part. Here's the turnstiles to go into the AC and E trains. We now have the tap to pay. So if you have Apple Pay, you don't have to have a Metro card anymore. You can just go in. And now you're going to see yet another transition from the old to the new. So we have now left the old Penn station, and we are arriving in the brand new Moynihan train hall, which has, arguably one of the nicest Amtrak lounges that I've ever seen. You could take the Amtrak train here. You could also get the Long Island Railroad, and it is really impressive. Now this opened when we had Governor Andrew Cuomo. This opened, I believe, right during the pandemic, was the main opening ceremony. And if we go up these escalators, we're now officially going to be in Moynihan, which the post office is still in operation. We'll go up there in just a moment. But I also want to show you the retailing concourse, the brand new dining concourse. Right here is the train board. So there's two components. You see Amtrak and you see the Long Island Railroad. You have a Starbucks here. Cool thing about this train station is that the tracks go underground. So you have this very flat, almost like a plane, entrance to the train station. And then you have all the individual escalators going down into the floor, as you can see here. We'll go back to the wide angle camera lens just so you can see really how grand this train station is. Once again, this is the new Moynihan train hall. To the left, you have the ticketed waiting room for the Amtrak and Long Island Railroad. Again, you have ice cream shops here, a flower shop. You have a Birch Coffee, which is very good coffee. You also have an H&H Bagels and a Blue Bottle coffee shop as you head to the 9th Avenue entrance. And on the second floor is the brand new Amtrak lounge. So if you're waiting to get the Amtrak train, you can wait up on the second floor, that really, really nice lounge. You also have a Magnolia Bakery here. So we're now headed west, okay? We're going to head towards 9th Avenue. And this will take us directly to the brand new Hudson Yards, which is put on by a related group. Hudson Yards is a culmination of Class A office towers, a brand new mall, and a lot of high-end luxury condos. We've already talked about BlackRock moving to 50 Hudson Yards, expanding their office space. Here's the Blue Bottle. Here's the H&H Bagels. And back here is the main food court, which is awesome because they have Jacob's Pickle, which is really a staple of the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And they have this beautiful bar here. So if you're waiting for the train, or even if you're just getting off of work and you just want a nice place to sit, watch some sports, watch the Knicks game, grab a drink, you can do so right here.
Please notify Amtrak police or personnel or call 1-800-331-0008.
This is called the Irish Exit, and it opens to the office corridor up top.
Attention, please. This is the last call for Amtrak Keystone Train 667 en route to Harrisburg with intermediate stops. Passengers should proceed to track 5.
You have a new ramen place, a new pizza spot all the way in the back. There's just so many different options just in the train station alone. And then just off to the left, you do have your public restrooms. So on your next trip to New York, even if it doesn't bring you to Penn Station, I would come here and just check it out. You know, a lot of people don't know this even exists, right? If you've been to New York City 5 years ago, you haven't been back, there's so much you've missed. Right across from the Walgreens, this is the Amtrak baggage claim. So it's closest to the 31st Street entrance to the Moynihan train hall. An interesting touristy piece of information which I'll show you guys, which even a lot of New Yorkers don't know about. If you come to the 31st Street entrance, okay, closest to 8th Avenue, there's an entire replica of the skyline of Manhattan on the ceiling. So if you never look up, you'd never see this. So once again, if you want to come here yourself, this is pretty cool to see. 31st Street and 8th, in between 8th and 9th, you have this entire skyline of Manhattan hanging upside down. Pretty cool. I'll now take you to the second floor. This is where you're going to have some of the entrances to the offices. If you were to go all the way down the hall and make a right, that'll take you to the post office. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to make this left. And we're going to head out towards the entrance by the Hudson Yards. Because I wanted to show you how everything interconnects. I wanted to show you how the brand new Penn 2 project interconnects with the brand new entrance of Madison Square Garden, with the brand new entrance of the Long Island Railroad, under the passageway to the brand new Moynihan train station, and also how it interconnects to the offices. So as you can see, this is, Class A quality. Super luxury, great amenities, high ceiling heights, expansive, very safe. Here's one of the entrances to the offices. This is the south lobby, main lobby. And then once we exit these doors, this is going to be 9th Avenue and the official start of the Hudson Yards, which was put on by Related. And you'll see two super tall, big tall skyscrapers, which is 1 Manhattan West and 2 Manhattan West. We spoke about how hedge fund D.E. Shaw has now relocated from 1166 Avenue of the Americas to the Hudson Yards. And it's definitely a grand entrance. We'll go on the wide-angle camera lens. And here it is. 1 Manhattan West, 2 Manhattan West. And the backside of Moynihan. So to sum up the video, when you think about the commercial real estate market in New York, what I want you to think about is a bifurcated market. You're seeing extreme strength at the high end of the Class A office towers, like 425 Park, 1 Vanderbilt, buildings in the Hudson Yards, 270 Park Avenue, JP Morgan Chase. So it's a big flight to quality. And what you'll also probably have at the Class B and Class C office towers is some sort of a conversion process, right? This happens a lot in Lower Manhattan. A lot of the older office towers in Lower Manhattan have now been converted into residential units. You also have had Deutsche Bank. Their office used to be at 60 Wall Street, and they've since moved into the Related building, which was the old Time Warner Center. And that is now Deutsche Bank Tower. So another major move and a big New York City real estate project right now is the old Pfizer building. So Pfizer used to be right next to the Chrysler building. That used to be their New York City headquarters. Pfizer has now moved to the Hudson Yards, and their old office is going to be repurposed into the largest office to residential conversion in the city's history. You can check it out. Just Google Pfizer NYC office conversion. And that conversion project is going to dethrone Harry Mackallow's 1 Wall Street as being the largest office to residential conversion in the city's history. So what I suspect is I don't think it'll be Armageddon in the commercial real estate market. You're going to have a flight to quality, and there's going to be a lot of deals getting done to convert older office buildings into residential, assuming zoning and regulations permit. And the city is doing a lot to expedite that process. If anything, these office buildings maybe just will be torn down, because it's not as easy as it seems just to convert an office building into residential. Oftentimes, depending on the cost of demolition, it's inexpensive or more inexpensive to just demolish the building and then build something brand new. So that's kind of my prediction for the market. So if you guys enjoyed this walking tour of the Penn 2 project put on by Vornado, as well as the Moynihan Train Hall, and a little bit of a conversation about commercial real estate in New York, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe for more New York City walking tours. And if you need help finding an office space, or if you're purchasing a residential apartment here in New York City and you need some help, email me at the email address below, and I'd be more than happy to help you and your family find the perfect place right here in New York City. Thanks so much for watching.